Welcome all. Today in building services, we will get to know about the plumbing system components. So first of all, what is a plumbing? So plumbing is a word which is come from the Latin word actually means a plumber. So plumber means it is a lead. So as the pipes were once made from lead, so first it is named by a Latin word plumber and then it is turned into a word as plumbing. So plumbing is a system of pipes, drains, fittings, walls, and valve assemblies and devices installed in a building for the distribution of the water for drinking, heating and washing, and removal of the waterborne waste, and the skilled trade of working with the pipes and tubbing and plumbing fixtures and such systems. So the plumbing is often denotes the supply and the waste system of an individual building, distinguishing it from the water supply and sewage system that serve a group of the building. Mainly the plumbing is mainly in order to uh, is used to flow of the water or the flow of the waste from the buildings. So next is about the components of the plumbing. For it is classified as the pipes and pipe fittings. So in terms of pipes, it is PEX and copper pipings, PVC, galvanized pipe, brass and cast iron pipes, and also the cement pipes. Then pipe fittings, that is which is used to connect one pipe and the other. So couplers or the coupling, reducers, walls, elbows, unions, tees, then cross, cap, and also the barb. First is about the pipes. It is nothing but the hollow cylinder following certain dimensional rules. So the pipe is a hollow cylinder used to convey the fluids, gases, or the fine particulates. So depending on the context, it also referred to as the tube used for smoking, a cylindrical musical instruments, or a system programming a machine, a mechanism that passes output from one process to the other. So first type of the pipe is the PEX. So it is a flexible plastic piping. So popular selection in the residential and small business applications. So slightly higher initial cost, but a minimum maintenance and fast installation process. Then also the leak-free product offering the advantage over the copper pipings, and but cannot be used in outdoor appliances as UV rays can damage it outside plastic layers. Next is about the next type is the copper piping. So the copper piping is most often used for the supply of hot and cold tap waters and as refrigerant lines in HVAC systems. And there are two basic types of copper piping. That is, one is the soft copper and another one is the rigid copper. So the soft copper can be bent easily to travel across the obstacles in path of the tubing, and also most popular choice for the refrigerant lines in the split system air conditioners and the heat pumps. Then the second type is the rigid copper. So the rigid copper is a popular choice for the water lines. It is joined using the switch or the roll grooved compression or the crimped or the pressed connections. So rigid copper it will be rigid. So due to which the work hardening of the drawing process cannot be bent and must be elbow fitting to go around corners or around obstacles. Next type is the PVC, which is a very common one. That is a polyvinyl chloride used for the hot and the cold potable waters as well with the sewerage applications. So vary on their thickness and configuration depending upon the applications where it to be used. So it examples or the pressure water pipes are not the same as the sewer pipes and not the same as the ones used on the storm drainage systems. So that thickness and their configuration will be based upon the requirement. Next type is the galvanized iron pipes, that is used several years ago actually. So less frequent used now as the rust can build inside the small diameter pipes. So if the pipe is old, water coming from the faucet with the rust traces can be seen. So can be used to transport grey water or the non-potable waters. So used for high temperature or pressure manufacturing processes and mainly used in the petroleum industries. Next is about the brass pipe. that is a brass is an alloy which is made up of the copper and the zinc. So the proportion of the zinc and copper can be varied to create a range of the brasses with the varying properties. So provide greater rust resistance, and it is made up of 67% to 85% of the copper. So excellent for the hot water and the large distribution systems such as the pipe fittings, water tanks and wells, and actually generally comes in 12 feet straight lengths. So next is about the pipe fittings, that is which is used to connect one pipe and the other. So the fitting is used in the pipe plumbing systems to connect the straight pipes or the tubing sections to adapt to different sizes or shapes and for other purposes such as the regulating or measuring the fluid flow. So these are some of the pipe fitting elements. There is elbow, red elbows, then elbow 45 Ts, red Ts and service Ts. So these are some of the cross, caps, then unions. So these are some of the fittings that is used to connect the pipes. So first main type is the coupling, that is the coupling connect two pipes to each other. If the size of the pipe is not the same, the fitting may be called as a reducing coupler or the reducers or an adapter. Then the reducer, that is the reducer allows for the change in pipe size to meet hydraulic flow requirements of the systems or to adopt existing piping of a different size. So reducers are usually concentric, but eccentric reducers are used when required to maintain the same top or bottom of the pipe levels. Next is the elbow, so that is used for the turn of the pipes. So installed between two lengths of the pipe or a tubing to allow a change of directions. So usually it will be of the 90° or 45°. So when it's two ends different in size, the fitting is called as the reducing elbows or as the common elbow, which has the same size. Next is about the types of elbows. It is of four types. So first one is the long radius LR elbow. So the radius is 1.5 times the pipe diameter. Other one is the short radius elbow, that is SR elbow. So its radius is 1 times the pipe diameter. And the third one is the 90° elbow. So where the change in direction is required will be 90°. Then in terms of 45° elbow, where the change in direction is required to about the 45°. So these are the types of elbows. Next is about the unions. So that is, a union is similar to a coupling. So except it is designed to allow quick and convenient disconnection of the pipes for the maintenance or the fixture replacements. So the standard union pipe is made in three parts, so which consist of the nut, a female end and the male end. So when the female and the male end are joined, the nuts then provide the necessary pressure to seal the joints. So this is an example of the union. So in addition to the standard simple unions, other type of unions also exist. So that is dielectric unions and rotary unions. So dielectric unions, the unions with the dielectric insulations use it to separate dissimilar metals. So that is such as the copper and the galvanized steel to avoid the damaging effect of the galvanic corrosions. And the rotary unions, the unions that allow for the rotation of one of the united parts. Next is about the T-joints. So available with all female thread sockets. That is nothing but that the threads will be inside the pipe. It is termed as the female pipe. When the thread is outside, it is termed as the male one. So in terms of T-joints available with all female threaded sockets, all solvents, weld sockets, sockets or with opposed solvents, weld sockets and a side outlet with the female threads. So used either combine or split a fluid flow. So to T-shaped having two outlets at 90° to the connection to the main lines. So used for connecting pipes of the different diameter or for changing the direction of the pipe runs. Then extensively used in pipeline networks to transport two-phase liquid mixtures. Next is about the cross. So that is, it can be fitted in all the four ways. So also called as the four-way fittings. So it is the branch line passes completely through a T, the fitting becomes the cross. So it has one inlet and three outlet, or else the vice versa, that is three inlet and one outlet. So however it can be used. So they often have the solvents, welded sockets, and or the female threaded ends. So it is mainly used in the fire sprinkler systems due to their extra cost. Next is about the cap. So a cap is used like the plug, that is a except the pipe cap screws or the attaches on the male thread of the pipe. So that is male pipe is nothing but which has the thread outside the pipe. So they may have a solvent weld socket end or the female threaded ends and the other end closed off. So that is mainly in plumbing systems that use threads, the caps have the female threads. So if the solvent weld cap is used to provide for the future connection points, the several inches of pipe must be left before the cap because when the cap is cut off for the future connection, enough pipe must remain to allow the new fitting to the glued on it. So mainly the cap will be used to terminate the flow, that is for the closing purpose. Next is about the barb. So it is used to connect the flexible hoses to the pipe. So it has the male thread end used to join with the female thread. So the other end of the fitting has either a single or the multiple barbed tube having a tapped stub with the ridges, so which is inserted into the flexible hose to secure it. So it can be made up of the plastic or sometimes with the brass. So brass barb is used for the hot water application while the plastic is used for the cold water applications. So the barbs can be either elbow shaped or it can be straight also. Thank you.